Hi all, Kim Myrock here. What would you do with 260 tons, or 10 refrigerated railroad cars, of leftover Thanksgiving turkey? Some of you may say you would donate it to the local food pantry, while others may have no idea what to do with that much turkey. However, in 1953, that was the very dilemma that Swanson faced when they colossally miscalculated the level of the American appetite for turkey. What did they do with the leftovers? Well, they ordered 5,000 aluminum trays and concocted a meal of turkey with cornbread stuffing, whipped sweet potatoes, and peas, and trademarked the term TV dinner. They sold these dinners to the public for 98 cents each, and within the first year of production, 10 million turkey dinners were sold. Within the first year, other entrees were also introduced, such as fried chicken, Salisbury steak, and meatloaf, all of which were served with a potato and peas. All entrees included, over 25 million meals were sold in that first year. Since it only had to bake in the oven for 25 minutes at 425 degrees, everyone from busy moms feeding families to bachelors could eat a full meal at a low cost. No history of frozen dinners would be complete without first looking at the origins of frozen foods. People have been freezing foods for thousands of years as a means of preservation. In fact, Eater.com states that it dates back to 1000 BC when the Chinese stored goods in ice cellars. Prior to the 1920s, food was frozen at a slow rate, which caused ice crystals to form, rupturing the cell membranes of the food. According to Everyday Mysteries, when the food was defrosted, the ice crystals would melt and water would leak out, taking with it the food's flavor and texture. This left the food mushy and undesirable, which caused frozen foods to not sell well. Around 1912, Clarence Birdseye was living in Canada, where natives taught him about ice fishing. He noticed that the fish froze almost immediately after being pulled out of the water. Months later, when thawing out the fish, he was delighted to find that the fish was just as delicious as it was prior to being frozen. He then theorized that in order to retain taste and texture, food items needed to be frozen quickly. In 1920, now working as a lobbying group for a commercial fisherman in New York, he discovered that large amounts of freshly caught fish spoiled prior to making it to the market. Birdseye believed that he could apply the principles that he learned in Canada to commercially frozen food. Birdseye developed two methods to quickly freeze food. He noted that the food must be packaged prior to being frozen. First, he used two metal belts chilled to -40 to -45 degrees Fahrenheit and used a calcium chloride solution. Second, according to Everyday Mysteries, the packaged food was held under pressure between two hollow metal plates that were chilled to -25 degrees Fahrenheit by the evaporation of ammonia. Using the second, more popular method, a 2-inch thick package of meat could be frozen in 90 minutes, while fruits and vegetables took only 30 minutes. In 1930, the Birdseye Frosted Food Company marketed the first line of frozen foods, including 18 cuts of meat, fish, oysters, spinach and peas, fruits and berries. However, he continued to face a number of hurdles, including a lack of insulated vehicles to transport his products to stores, and many retailers did not have sufficient refrigerator display cases. But nevertheless, Postum Cereal Company saw the potential in Birdseye's innovations and bought his company just a few years later, changing their names to General Foods, which included Birdseye Frosted Food Division. Large numbers of Americans first tasted frozen foods in the 1940s, during World War II, when there was a shortage of tin. The canned goods that were produced were shipped to the soldiers. Americans were encouraged to purchase frozen foods. Frozen foods also used fewer ration points. Post-war, there was an influx of career women, and with 2 working parents in the household, a faster way to fix meals was needed. While Gary Thomas, a Swanson salesman, is credited with being the father of TV dinners, there were others who had already made frozen meals. In 1944, W.L. Maxon, created the first frozen dinner called Stratoplates, which were sold to the Navy and airlines. The meals consisted of meat, vegetables, and a potato, on paperboard, similar to Bakelite resin. Maxim also invented a convection oven for the airlines to use that could heat 6 meals at once in half the time as a conventional oven. Due to Maxim's death in 1947, Strato plates were made. It never made it to the retail market. For this reason, some feel that this does not qualify as a TV dinner. In the late 1940s, Jack Fisher released Frigidaires, which were sold to bars and taverns. In 1949, Albert and Mayer Bernstein organized Frozen Dinners, Inc., which sold dinners under the One-Eyed Eskimo label to markets near Pittsburgh. In 1954, demand continued to grow and the brothers expanded distribution east of the Mississippi. Frozen dinners really took off, though, in 1953 when Swanson, which was already a well-known brand, introduced them into their offerings. This same year, Swanson also launched a major advertising campaign, marketing the product as an easy-to-eat meal in front of the television set and using your lap as a table. Our love affair for television and families multitasking by eating in front of the TV caused this campaign and trademarking of the term TV dinner to allow Swanson to be the first company to market the Frozen Dinner successfully. In 2003, Carol Swanson Price, a granddaughter of one of the Swanson brothers, and Betty Cronin, a Swanson employee, claimed Gary Thomas's Thanksgiving story was actually fiction, and that brothers Gilbert and Clark Swanson were really the ones who had the idea of the TV dinner. Nearly 60 years later, the true inventor of the TV dinner remains a mystery. TV dinners have gained so much popularity over the years, they are considered to be an important icon of American culture. Gary Thomas has been honored as being an inductee into the Frozen Food Hall of Fame. In 1987, the original TV dinner tray was placed in the Smithsonian to commemorate the tray's impact on American culture. In 1999, Swanson received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. With the steady decline in food preparation over the last 50 years, frozen dinners have remained a convenient staple. Frozen dinners today offer options for healthy and unhealthy eaters, as well as geared towards each gender and age group, and remains at nearly a $4.5 billion industry yearly. Remember to celebrate your favorite frozen food during the month of March. After all, it is Frozen Food Month.